Welcome back. Joining the debate right now on whether or not there is a vilification campaign against the victim here on a day when the charge sheet has been filed is Sanjay Roy. He's a friend of Tarun Tejpal and well known as the organizer of the Jaipur Literary Festival. Now, Sanjay Roy, Brinda Grover says quite emphatically, and this has been heard, that there is a vilification campaign against the victim. Who's running this campaign? Who's vilifying her? Who's attacking her? Who's running the slander campaign? Is it being done surreptitiously or openly? Who's in charge of it?
I would actually pose the other question, Arnab, as to who's running the vilification campaign against Tarun. I mean, perhaps, the media needs to ask the questions as to how is it that Tarun's youngest daughter's email was hacked into and her letter to her father, for example, was circulated. Similarly, in much of the leaks that have happened, it's quite easy to trace where these leaks have come from, and I'm sure the media can do so. And Arnab, I'm not sure, but I've been told that you have a copy of the charge sheet today. Is that correct?
Yes, I have a copy of the charge sheet.
That's really surprising because the defense lawyers haven't been given the copy of the charge sheet. Apparently, they've been told that they're getting the charge sheet tomorrow. So again, unfortunately, all of these things sort of seem to add up to show that somehow the state seems to be in a position.
Mr. Sanjay Roy, one thing I'll tell you. Don't ever try to teach me my journalism. I am trained to get material, and I will get it from wherever I want. Now answer my question.
Please don't lecture. I know you spend your time lecturing people on Times Now. I'm not interested in hearing your lecture about teaching you your journalism. I'm asking a simple question. The question I've asked is that I didn't come here to combat you, Arnab. I'm asking you a simple question. You have been given the charge sheet today. The defense lawyers have not been given the charge sheet. I would like to know, what does that mean? Does that mean that Times Now is the jury and the judge and the hangman and the prosecutor? Or is Times Now part of the entire state brigade to get Tarun Tejpal?
Come on now, you are going to...
Yeah, I mean, it is a laughable matter. I absolutely agree. No, it's exactly the same question that you asked me, Arnab. You started by saying, don't lecture me. This is a ridiculous, it's a ridiculous situation where we continuously have to defend a completely facetious statement.
I'll give you a choice. Now, one second.
Thank you, Arnab, for giving me a choice. I'm grateful.
It's not my problem, and don't get so worked up. First of all, you should not get so worked up when you're asked straight questions. Even if you are personally, very involved in this case, maintain a little objectivity, balance. And if I would say to you,
it is the intent behind the asking of the question, Arnab, that would work.
Kindly maintain a little propriety.
It is the intent behind the question,
and don't lose your cool.
I mean, if I'm not mistaken, Arnab,
when you're asked a question,
79 days ago on your channel, you congratulated yourself about a job well done. Meaning you were the jury, you were the investigator of having put Tarun Tejpal into jail.
Mr. Sanjay Roy,
79 days later, we meet again on this channel, and you're asking me again a question with a particular intent, which is absolutely unacceptable. One expects the media to be fair. One expects the media to ask fair questions and ask the appropriate questions. You guys cannot continue to be judge, jury, and hangman all at the same time. I think that's unacceptable, Arnab. As a media, as a senior, extremely respected journalist, you should know that that's unacceptable. There are many questions to be asked in this case, and I hope, Arnab, now that you've got this charge sheet, you have also got the CCTV footage, which you will play back to your viewers and decide, as you're deciding much of the case, as to who is right and who is wrong.
I'll tell you one thing.
And if you haven't got the CCTV footage, you will ask for it.
I'll tell you. Now you please just keep quiet for a minute. Keep quiet for a minute. Just be quiet for a minute. It will do you some good. and drink some water, that's fine. Now my question to you is this, that you must remember this, Mr. Sanjoy Roy, that if you are feeling uncomfortable this evening on the channel, and I only asked you one question, if you felt so uncomfortable on this channel, and if you feel that what you really
want is that you want to
vent. If I
was feeling uncomfortable, I wouldn't be on the channel.
Now, Mr. Roy, I listened to you when you were fulminating. I listened to you, didn't I, when you were fulminating and going on ballistic without answering the question? I listened to you, right? So listen to me, okay? Keep some sense of balance in your response. Now, if you are wanting to vent, I would request you go and vent somewhere else. On this channel, on the News Hour, you are expected to answer the questions. Since you won't, and I saw a hand go up there, for whatever reason, you may be nervous, you may be upset, for whatever reason, I hand it over to Brinda Grover, who wants to make a counterpoint to you, and please have the decency to listen to her, Mr. Roy.
Arnab, as usual, making comments without any sense of what is right or wrong.
Have the decency to listen to her. Am I asking you for too much to ask you to have the decency to listen to her?
My simple point here as a lawyer is that every accused has a right to defend himself. The family and friends of the accused also have a right to defend him. I have no bones to pick with anybody on that. However, to continuously say that Tarun Tejpal is being put through a media trial is not true on facts. The charge sheet has been given. The court will decide the fate of Tarun Tejpal. On the basis of the charge sheet, it's a very, very strong case of rape, among other offences. And the evidence is not just of witnesses and their testimonies, but of multiple nature, electronic, forensic, etc. My second point here is that it is, all of us in Delhi at least know very well that there is a lobby which is working on behalf of Tarun Tejpal. If his friends and family are determined to continue to malign, talk about the normality of the rape victim, talk about her dress, talk about her past, talk about her relationships, in her work sphere, in the entire media circuit, where she is going to be employed in future also, as well as in social networks. These are networks of influential, powerful position of people. They do not need a media, a half-an-hour news space to be able to put their point across. They are doing this rigorously, ongoing. This girl is woman complainant, is isolated. There are few people who are standing up for her. So in no way are we going to lose perspective on the power imbalance that is operating in this case as in other cases.
Now, the victim has alleged, Kavita is coming in on this as well. I'm glad that we are now talking about fact. We've ended with that fulmination. The question here is that the victim has alleged intimidation on more than one occasion. And she's been fairly direct about it, hasn't she? Kavita.
See, absolutely. There is tremendous intimidation, and apart from the emails I mentioned, there is also other stuff that is circulating, including fabricated stuff, trying to imply that there was a prior relationship and so on and so forth. All right. And all sorts of things are being said about her integrity, about her character, all of that.
So but I want to make to pressurize the victim?
It's an attempt to create an atmosphere which they hope will influence the court eventually as well. All right. Now, I want to make two small points. One is to, what is being said. A charge sheet is something which is eventually, it is in the public domain. All right. There are charge sheets that are talked about. The defense will certainly get a copy of the charge sheet and they will frame their response to it. Now, I just wonder one thing. Those who are saying all this about a media trial and this and that, I just wonder that if it were not somebody who was such a big person, if it was not Tarun Tejpal, if it was not a CEO, a big person, a judge or whoever, okay, if it was not people of this category, would they really worry, would they take issue with the expansion of the definition of rape if the accused were somebody from a different class with no influence? That is really the question. And my final thing here is that the expansion of the definition of rape, all right, because we don't want, we've been saying for years that we don't want rape to be defined only in terms of a certain narrow definition of a sexual encounter. It should not be defined in terms of chastity and so on and so on. So it should be defined precisely in terms of the woman's bodily integrity, and any violation of that is actually rape. Any penetration or invasion of that is actually rape. Now, the point is that when we fought for and won this, I'm here to say that, I think there will be voices, even in the women's movement. We've been concerned that if you have, for instance, something like mandatory sentencing, I think it may eventually deter in cases where the evidence is not so strong. It may deter the conviction altogether. So there's a need to rethink some aspects of laws and so on and so forth. But this is not the right place to go into all of that. But I want to say here that the expansion of the definition of rape, the recognition that the accusations in this particular case fall squarely in the category of rape, this is something it is important to uphold. This is a test case, a landmark case for that. And I completely agree with Brinda that these are the few occasions in the media like this where we actually get to counter the insidious, widespread campaign that is happening, that is pillorying the complainant.
Absolutely. And I'll give an example of that, and let's see if Sanjoy has a response, a factual response to this. Sanjoy, consider this. Tarun Tejpal's bail plea before the Goa Sessions Court claimed that the alleged act was not criminal and was consensual because, and I quote, the victim is an educated, emancipated woman who wanted the apology to be published on the letterhead of Tehelka. It says, and I quote, she cannot be compared to a girl from tradition-bound, non-permissive society of India who would be extremely reluctant to make any such revelation in fear of being shunned by the family or society. Placing, quote, this background to allege material discrepancy in the victim's claim vis-a-vis the CCTV footage, delay in lodging the complaint, as well as the subsequent conduct of the victim, more particularly her conversation with friends, the defense cited suspicion about the genuineness of the allegations. In other words, now let me put it very simply, Mr. Sanjoy Roy. The argument being put in the bail plea was something like this. Here is an educated, emancipated Indian woman who, by virtue of being educated and an emancipated woman, cannot be believed when she makes a charge such as this. In other words, an educated, emancipated woman who is not belonging to quote-unquote tradition-bound, non-permissive society cannot be raped. And she cannot be believed if she says, I have been raped. Mr. Sanjoy Roy, can I have your observations on this extremely bizarre argument that was put here?
Arnab, can I have a word?
No, I just wanted to know if Sanjoy Roy wants to
Arnab, I lost most of what you said in between. I'm sorry.
Arnab, can I have a word?
You lost what I said
Arnab, I lost most of what you said in between. Hello?
No, but
you can hear me now, Sanjoy?
Can I intervene?
Hello?
Arnab?
Okay,
I can hear you now.
Rahul.
Hello?
That making a pass at a woman is equivalent to rape, and does it deserve a life sentence?
What do you mean making a pass? I mean, this is
what I think, Mr. Rahul. Can somebody give Mr. Rahul Singh a copy of the Indian Penal Code, please?
No, but all I'm saying is I'm questioning the expansion, what you call expansion of rape. Making a pass.
But making a pass is not
rape.
penetrative sexual act. Can you please define what a pass is? Is it a penetrative sexual act? Is that what you call a pass? Because rape has to have an element of penetrative sexual act.
Can you tell me? Can you tell me what is a penetrative sexual act? Can you tell me that?
You can download the Indian Penal Code section 375 and section 376 from the internet and please read it.
I want to know from you.
Mr. Rahul
because
no, it's not about what I think. It's about what the law says.
Brinda, first of all, Mr. Rahul Singh clearly needs to be educated.
Yes, so he can download from the internet.
Let me also explain.
But Kavita wants to also say something.
I just want to say that when a woman's intimate parts of her body are penetrated by a man forcibly with any part of his body,
or object,
his finger, for instance, or an object, for instance. These instances have happened many times, manifold times in the past. Our law earlier did not choose to recognize these as rape. In fact, last year's movement, much of it was precisely about which everybody, nobody spoke against.
I just want to ask him.
What Kavita described. I agree with that. I agree with that. Does it deserve a life sentence?
What Kavita?
Does it deserve a life sentence?
Mr. Rahul Singh.
It is not a pass.
1 minute. Mr. Rahul Singh, I am asking you now. Answer me right, okay? What Kavita described, that act, in your view, that's a pass, is it? that's making a pass?
There are gradations. That is making a pass. Basically, it's making pass. It is not rape.
The law recognizes gradation.
I'm sorry to have to say this.
The law recognizes gradation,
I'm sorry, Mr. Rahul Singh.